but that's hard to do.
Yeah, and speaking of things popping up on the game and what to expect, we are seeing the Nolan banned out first from RQ Hoshi alongside the Mathilda. A little bit textbook. We've seen the Nolan deal a lot of early game damage, just being able to rotate around that jungle and be a menace. The Mathilda, I feel like, is one of those more staple bans that we've been seeing so far. Everybody's scared for that mobility, sustainability that she provides, and very hard to kind of keep up with. But you spoke a little bit about AP Bren and what RQ Hoshi could do to take them down. But let's talk about the other side of the board. What could our AP Bren do to take RQ Hoshi down? Now, I would say it's going to start with taking down Skylar and Banana in the side lanes. Because so far, I had the pleasure of kind of casting Group A and watching their entire journey so far. And they've pretty much every single time won in the side lanes. You'd see Banana rotating around, seeing the Benedetta, able to cut the lanes, get the neutral objectives, and create the separation for the Lord fights. But then also at the same point, you got to see Skylar. Normally, he's beating that marksman one-on-one in the gold lane. And then even when things don't look in their favor, he pulls out a Layla last minute and still was able to pull off the victory. So, I mean, they definitely have a lot of momentum behind them. And that's something AP Bren is going to have to watch out for.
And this is the thing for RQ Hoshi. They have Coach Bren now working for them as their head coach. Obviously, a very important tool in deciding these drafts. And him knowing what AP Bren's wiring will be, that's a very interesting dynamic. Surely there's a new coach in town for AP Bren, so maybe the dynamic will be a little bit different. But the fact that for Coach Bren, he knew from the start what made AP Bren successful, especially during the M5 World Championship, where their draft was really tailored to make it work for Kyle Tizzy as well as Super Marco, right? So that could be the dynamic. And now going back to what you just said about the side lanes of RQ Hoshi, and yes, I did observe that their drafting pattern is more lean towards winning the side lanes matchup per matchup, so that they don't have to worry about it, and now they can refocus their efforts into making sure that the mid lane trio moves quickly. So now AP Bren, I think that they might go for Arlott this time. And knowing that Arlott is one of those heroes that really like it, it's an open pick. That might be the way for them to go. Apart from that, Nana is open, as well as Ruby, which is interestingly the hero of choice for Games of the Future.
You know, and speaking of things that are interesting, some smart drafting from RQ Hoshi, right? I mean, we got to see AP Bren. They were favoring the CC in majority of their games so far in Game of Futures. So they went ahead and took it away from them inside of this first pickup. And then to top it off, we kind of look at their ban so far. They banned out the Navaria, one of the hottest picks so far over there for AP Bren, and taking that off the board is going to kind of limit some of the heroes that we've seen them shine on so far in Game of Futures 2024. But there's still another pick out there that was the Faramis being slotted up, so they will have that sustainability that they're looking for, and then some good frontline composition as well, as they are going to lock in the Baxia.
Yeah, a very interesting choice here for AP Bren, going in straight for the utility jungler. Obviously, the Nolan as well as Joy is out, but their choice now is go for what works, right? So we're not yet over the phase of the utility junglers. We're not over the Fredrin, Baksha, Martis triangle that we have. As long as Joy and Nolan both banned out, there's really no other merit for teams to go for non-utility junglers. Now, one hero that is very important here is the Faramis. Because you're already opened up with the CC, that means that you can't have access to other XP laners that can actually take down the HP bars of this Faramis or the extra HP from the ultimate. But Lilia is a great answer. And this is really such a Bren pattern. Like, pick up the Lilia, match up against the Faramis. We're all back in the M5 meta. It's just that CC is on the table.
Yeah, and CC definitely being on the table is going to create some problems. Now, looking at AP Bren, I mean, they got the sustainability, they have the crowd control, they have mobility provided from the Boxy as well, and some great, strong frontline compositions. We're going to have to see who they put in as the marksman. Now, speaking of the marksman, we've been seeing Super Marco kind of dominate. He's been running the Claude, the carry. We also got to see him on the Brody with some great gameplay. All three of these heroes inside of his hands are a problem, and we'll need to have some answers. But speaking of answers, they're going to throw some more CC and sustainability into the mix. AP Bren picking up the Ruby. Now, that's definitely going to be something that could give RQ Hoshi a problem.
Yeah. This is a hero that can step into the bush, maybe tank some of the glooms coming up from Lilia, although not fully. Doesn't really care about pokes. Because if you're looking at RQ Hoshi, right, just with the two heroes, with CC as well as Lilia, they have a lot of damage, but they're not burst kind of damage. And I mean, you can argue that for the Lilia if you set up properly. But if you think about it, it still is under the stereotype or the archetype of poke, right? Maybe the only tier coming out from Arkeoshi is the Tyroth, which makes a lot of sense against the Baksha. But if you're looking at AP Brent, because they're a sustained lineup, pokes will not work. Maybe Arkeoshi will look for big bursts from their marksman now. So maybe they closed this out with a carry, for example, or somewhere along the lines of a Nathan, actually, which I'm not entirely sure if RRQ Hoshi have played or mastered before, but it is a hero that you can actually put here against the composition of AP Bren because it's a Faramis plus the Ruby as well as the Baksha. You would assume that this could be a front-to-back kind of composition coming up from AP Bren.
Yeah, definitely could be a strong answer. I mean, the only other marksman that we haven't seen, actually that we have been seeing, I would say really Mage, but ran in the gold lane position. We did see them pull out the Hareth. A lot of teams have been banning that away from them. And I don't think it would be the worst option to be able to pick up here. So I wonder if they're going to kind of ban that out. We are seeing the Minotaur, though, taken off the table. I mean, I think that's a good answer, especially with the Diggy not being banned out. It could be some great CC that could give AP Bren a problem. I mean, considering they are running the Faramis, so they're going to have to be kind of stacked together in these engagements to be able to profit from that nether realm. But speaking about profiting, right, we're still yet to see who they're going to be running in the gold lane positions from either side. Now, we know the staple marksmen that are usually kind of picked up is that Claude, is that Brody, which just got banned out. A possible Clint on the way for AP Bren could be a viable answer. All of these have definitely been, say, some problems. And I wouldn't just say for just these two teams, but overall, just one of the most highly picked marksmen in Game of Futures 2024.
Yeah, for sure. And that could be a priority now for AP Brand. Maybe they pick up their marksman now because they want to keep the Ruby's flexibility from Rome as well as EXP. Maybe they snatch the Nathan actually because it makes a lot of sense against CC in a way against this Lilia because you can really dodge that so easily. And then it's a hero that is okay if there's like poke from the other side. But instead they go Paquito instantly from AP Brand. That confirms the Ruby from that's going to be the Rome role here. RRQ Hoshi needs a little bit of burst type of marksman, right? So they banned the Brody. Maybe they go carry, but carry is generally not the hero against a Faramis. So I'm thinking like Beatrix or Nathan actually from RRQ Hoshi.
I'll throw one more at you. Maybe even throwing in the Bruno may actually slide in here. They've definitely been kind of going in on that. And I wonder which way it's going to go. I think burst potential is definitely what they need, especially against a strong frontline composition. I mean, you have the Ruby, the Baksha. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Skylar again. It's because you have the richest caster on the desk. That's what's going on. $1 million caster,
What?
$1 million Layla.
No. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that they'll do it against Brad. But it worked before. It is a great laning. Generally against most marksmen just because of the range. And then they go Kufra. All right, so they force RQ Hoshi to really dig into the bag of tricks of Brusco now. And maybe this is something that I'll talk about later on. Look at AP Brent's last two bans. It's Haka Brusco. They're minimizing what Brusco can play, forcing him to go for the Kufra. And then the Kufra is not necessarily a bad hero, but it doesn't really give anything in the mid lane. It will not protect the Lilia. It will not force out the Faramis because they're going to be safe. And then the Ruby is just able to scout out where Kufra is. That's the thing with the Ruby, right? So you can mirror where the Kufra is and the Kufra can't do anything. Like, cannot initiate because you'll always be in front of that Kufra. There's the Clint, as you've mentioned. Better range against the Layla just because of the passive. Definitely a lot more outplay potential compared to the Layla. And very strong when it comes to team fighting in the early stages of the game. Massive chance for them to take this. So this is actually a pretty good draft between two teams. I'm excited to see what the Layla can bring to the table.
And I'm just as thrilled as you are. We didn't get to see that last pick for what they're going to slot against the Layla in the gold lane. When I tried to guess it last time, that's when the Layla came out. We don't know yet. As we're going to jump to the Land of Dawn, we'll definitely let you guys know. But nonetheless, we're up for a great match in today's first series of the day, stepping into the virtual arena. We are in the semifinals for Game of Futures 2024. We're going to be seeing Indonesia up against AP Bren, holding the banner from Indonesia and holding the banner for the Philippines. The last Filipino team standing so far as Blacklist was knocked down. Will we be able to see AP Bren push on forth to the grand final? Or will we see RRQ Hoshi rise to the occasion?
Gonna be close. Is this how Bren defeats his former team? Right? Is it the Layla that we will see in this particular matchup that eventually overcomes AP Bren? We'll be able to find out. For now, I'm looking at the matchups in all of the lanes. First off, Clint versus Layla. I gotta say, like, maybe it's still Clint favored, like if it's a pure 1v1, just because of the passive. And that's always been the case for Clint. He can win the laning stage just because of the passive. And I'm sure that Super Marco is pretty much able to to be adept with that hero. Now we're looking at the other end. It's Paquito going up against the CC. Now this is like very tricky. It still is matchup based, but I gotta say, it's probably is CC favored in a way that it's easier for the CC to do well against the Paquito. It's not a win per se, but it's a much easier for that one. But now Few,
Yeah, it's going to rush in a little bit of damage in the mid lane. I love how you kind of broke down some of these matchups, right? I mean,
yeah,
when we're looking at the Layla, we know it's a really late game damage dealer that can close the game out if you let her kind of get those items. And also, I always like to call it a glass cannon, right? Very squishy in the beginning,
yeah,
easy to kill if you can dive. And that should be a focus for AP Bren if they do want to shut down Skylar. Because, I mean, we all seen how this played out before, right? So can AP Bren be the difference and not have the same thing happen to them? As you are seeing a big clash in the mid lane, not able to connect with the Abysm Strike with some early aggression from RRQ Hoshi.
yeah. We haven't really talked much about this Dyreth, but I do like this pickup. Third pick coming up from Arkehoshi. After the Baksha was already revealed, they're confident enough to go for the jungle Dyreth, which we know is a direct answer to the Baksha, right? So it has enough burst to counteract the sustain that you can get from the Baksha, and there's no hero from AP Bren, even the Ruby, that can stay in front of that Dyreth.
Yeah, and speaking of staying in front of things, everybody fighting it out in front of the turtle. It does get reset. Nether Realm activated over there, trying to keep the team alive. Few being able to proc it. Ogwin will find Irad, though. Does take down the Duroth we were just talking about, meaning RQ Hoshi will not have the retribution, and the first objective will go to AP Brent.
I can see AP Bren, after the Vengeance was popped from Banana, immediately they just, okay, they dropped it like it's a very hot plate. And then they went in back for the Faramis ultimate, which allowed them to eventually take out Irad. And after the dash from the Dyreth, that is the main weakness of the hero, by the way. No immediate dash afterwards. Oh my god, that's the problem. You don't... That's the problem with Kufra, right? It doesn't really actually protect teammates anymore. Especially
Yeah,
if you start the fight with the jump.
You kind of called it, the ace in the hole that they need to look out for. The Kufra could be a possible problem trying to protect Sky. I mean, some great setups from Ogwin, hitting them with the I'm offended. A lot of chain CC from that Ruby, and also sustainability to stay alive when that Layla's trying to burst him down. With Super Marco taking up that kill, it will put him at a slight advantage. You know, he's trying to kind of scale a little bit better than a Layla. We mentioned if they can take down Skylar in the early phase, this is where you see the glass cannon of Layla kind of break down.
Yeah. You see the Ruby as well coming out from Ogwin, not even needing the flicker in that moment. That's gonna be hurtful for RQ Hoshi, but that's also something that Brusco has to learn from now. He has to really delegate himself and his skills to save his teammates and not initiate for now, because they don't have that license to start the fights. Maybe if they have the conceal already, that's when they can probably make a play out of the Kufra. But for now, your duty as this Kufra for Brusco is just for protecting your teammates.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of protecting teammates, I mean, we did see it go to a 30-minute game the last time RQ Hoshi had the Layla. So even though they were kind of getting a lot of objectives taken from them and having a hard time, they were able to still sustain themselves until Skylar got all of those items necessary. And then he was able to get the game winner to close out the game. So AP Bren, even though they have the slight advantage, 2 kills up, we need to see them kind of close it out. That's where Deus Foots kind of struggled up against the Layla. Even though they dominated in the early phase, in the mid game, they just couldn't close the game out. And then that's when Skylar came alive. But right now, AP Bren sitting really good in the early phase of things.
If you look back 20 or 30 seconds ago, you can see AP Bren's micro rotation, wherein they went in for the crab play, and they gave it to Super Marco. But now the dash in the middle.
Yeah, big knockup for the stun. Hitting Kyle Teasy and Few, forcing out the Nether Realm, keeping the team alive. Abysm Strike, not going to deal the damage Irad was looking for. And back to the purple buff he goes. Vengeance proc by Banana. very low, will disengage into the mid lane.
And that's actually what Brusco needs to be doing. Imagine if he initiated first, he couldn't have defended his teammates. However, Irad wanted to go for the play when there is still the Fire Mist ultimate. And unfortunately for RQ Hoshi, this is the power spike for AP Bread. When you have the backshot that at the first turtle, it's gonna be great.
Ooh. Speaking of things that are great, massive damage.
Ooh.
Destruction Rush able to connect onto Ogwen from Skylar. You're already seeing how heavy of a hitter that Layla can be. Irad trying to close the distance. A Business Strike onto Super Marco, but now hit with the stun. Kyle Teasy hiding the damage, slowing him down, trying to get a pick off. Down he goes. Few will take down Irad on the aggressive back lane play, and that'll be 3 kills on the board for AP Bren.
Oh man, Irad just overheating up top. You'll understand why he went for that play. He knows that Super Marco is there, but Ogwen, even with just a quarter HP or even less, he went for the heads-up play to stun Irad so that Super Marco will be able to attack for a bit, maybe lifesteal a bit, get out into safety, and then Kyle Teasy jumped into the fray. That one weird interaction is that Brusco didn't immediately jump with the Tyrant's Revenge. He waited for far too long, and that might have been the reason why Irad actually did not survive that. If because he's already in range, right, to stop his teammate, but that costed them a death on Irad. So sometimes those trade-offs, even if you maybe sacrifice your life as the Kufra, you're gonna be way better off if Irad survived that play. So that is something that really is gonna be the dilemma for RRQ Hoshi.
Speaking of dilemmas, we kind of talked about earlier in the draft things AP Bren could do to shut down RQ Hoshi, and it was definitely putting some discomfort in the gold lane and the XP lane, taking down Skylar, taking Banana. They found a kill on Skylar, and they were also able to extend the gold lead for their marksman. He's now up 1,000 gold Super Marco over him. But speaking about the lanes, Few will find Skylar, and you are seeing the chase on a Brusco. Flapteezy gonna hit him with the heavy left punch. That is going to be 2 more kills for the side of AP Bren, and now a 4,000 gold lead.
Whew. It's going to bite him. And even Octa has to run away for now. And they're going to be going for the turtle. I think this is AP Bren's. Oh, Irad! Okay. Never mind. Okay. The mechanic. Working on it.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, while they got the turtle on the bot side, though, you did see Flapteezy take that tier 2 turret. So they have map control for the side AP Bren and also a great gold lead. Even though they didn't claim that turtle, I would still say overall that's a better trade for them, which is how far ahead they are for RQ Hoshi. They need to start translating some of these objectives in their favor, right? Maybe opening up the map would be a great start, because I don't know if AP Bren's the type of team that's going to let them take it to a 30-minute game like Day is Full.
Yeah, AP Bren is known to go for the, you know, like in the movies, go for the head. You should aim for that. That's definitely what AP Bren is trying to do almost all the time, especially the way that they're drafting. And then you really have to commend AP Bren from their previous rotations. Like every rotation, be it micro or macro rotation, benefits the team in general. Like for example, what I said earlier, when they went in for the play up top for Super Marco to give him the gold grab. That's you know, that looks like a small play, but if you compound all of those plays all together, you can see AP Bren really just dominating the map afterwards. Then after this before the turtle fight, they moved in a way that they were able to poke RQ Hoshi, they were able to poke Octa. Then that meant that they can push easily. Another play.
Yeah, big play on the way. Super Marco will find Banana. They opted in on the conceal play, just went straight forward as a full 5-man team to be able to take him down. Used a lot of utility, though, but was able to extend that kill lead now 6-0. I mean, this gold is steady climbing. They're up by like 6,000 gold now, 3 turrets in, 2 above RQ Hoshi. RQ Hoshi has yet to find a kill so far in this entire game, as we are hitting that 10-minute mark. A little bit of a struggle in today's matchup. But like we said, RQ Hoshi, when they pick up the Layla, they're banking on the late game. We know we're going to lose a little bit in the early phase, in the mid phase even, but if we can hold off, they can turn this around. But AP Bren, like you said, going straight for the head, cutting the head off the Serpent. What they're looking to do, trying to shut him down. You are going to see big setup, though. Banana taking the half HP. Kyle Teasy going in for the kill. Flapteezy joining him. We'll take him down. Netherrealm to keep AP Bren alive. Flapteezy will find Irad with a heavy left punch. 2 members falling for RQ Hoshi, and the Lord Pit has been controlled by AP Bren. But can we see RQ Hoshi turn this around? No. Looks like they are going to have to disengage. They don't have the numbers. They don't have the damage. And they're also too far behind in the economy.
It can now be proven that AP Bren is the tournament's tempo controller. Oh, Brusco with a play.
Ooh, rushes in on the Skylar. Flapteezy
Oh,
will
Flap.
get it. The dynamic duo in effect. Brusco very low, makes his way into the tier 2 turret, which may open up the opportunity for Ogwin to try and push in. But you are seeing Octa over there. Both teams fighting out,
Yeah.
now going over to that purple buff for a slight invasion. Man, overall, such a great game for AP Bren. RRQ Hoshi, what do they do to turn this around?
Well, they have to regain the tempo at the very least. Second, if they can't do that, the only other option here is to just survive this mid game. Just make sure that you don't lose your base. Maybe try to win when everyone is locked 23 minutes. But that's very difficult to do.
Yeah, definitely going to be a challenge. Destruction Rush going out from Skylar, trying to clear those minions. Not even enough damage to do that. Down goes the tier 2 turret in the mid lane. And now you're looking at RRQ Hoshi stripped down to their inhibitors.
Yeah. Gonna be difficult now for RQ Hoshi for sure. And I gotta say, there was this play that AP Bren did again in the mid lane where Super Marco looked to be alone in the mid lane when he's pushing, but already Flapteezy is pushing he's already positioned in that bush near the mid lane, so that left side of the turret. That's why even after the initiation coming out from Brusco with the Flicker Tyrant's Revenge, and we know that Octa is there for damage, AP Bren was prepared. This tells us that whatever AP Bren is doing, they're doing a buddy-buddy system, or at the very least, they're making a macro play for it. In that specific case, like look at the bush that Kautis is holding. When somebody shows himself in the mid lane, it's an ambush, right? So nobody from AP Bren is ever alone. They will not make the play that looks like they're isolated. This is the championship caliber team that you're seeing. They have plans every time that they're trying to move.
And this is kind of looking similar to the game with Deus Volt up against RQ Hoshi when RQ Hoshi picked up the Layla of Skylar. And the problem was Deus Volt was not able to close the game out, even with this massive boost in the economy and the objectives overall on the map. But AP Bren letting the world know, hey, we are the champions, and we planned to let it stay that way, as they are going to go in with the concealed play. Kyle TZ initiating onto RQ Hoshi. A double stun. Black TZ will find Irad. One member falling. And it looks like RQ Hoshi will be forced back into the base. AP Bren in total control.
Wow. 10-0. And the grip is not loosening at all. You can see RQ Hoshi being desperate for farm. They're trying to do everything that they can just to get the farm. And all things considered, Irad might have gone for the only play possible. Yeah, obviously he died, but then again, Abren knew exactly that will happen. And now Lord Fight, no retribution for RQ Hoshi.
Yeah, Brusco winding up, decides to hit a quick 180. Wasn't able to find the opportunity. Skylar trying to get the steal, unable to connect with the Destruction Rush. AP Bren will claim this Lord, and a body of Super Marco will take down Brusco. I would call that a 2-for-none trade. And right now, we haven't seen RQ Hoshi really take any objectives, no kills. And so far, it's been more of a reactionary side of things for them. AP Bren just controlling the tempo.
You nailed the right term for RQ Hoshi. Yeah, they're reactionary, heavily reactive. They're not making the heads-up play, right? They're not making a play. That's what I'm trying to say here for RQ Hoshi. They're always just reacting to what AP Bren is doing, and that is how you know a team has controlled the tempo, right? So whatever is happening to RQ Hoshi right now, it's not entirely their fault. It's AP Bren just forcing them to be in that spot. AP Bren are so active, and they're taking control of the tempo so quickly.
Yeah, speaking about taking control, stepping into the base for RQ Hoshi for a possible early finish. AP Bren trying to seize the opportunity, but the Lord is getting bursted down. It has now fallen, and out of the base, AP Bren goes. Now, it is now 15 minutes in, getting to that 15-minute mark. Like we said, the later the game goes, the better it'll be for RQ Hoshi to be able to turn this around. Wind of Nature picked up from Super Marco, definitely getting ready to kind of take that fight and negate the physical damage, as you are seeing them possibly go in to try and take some of these remaining inhibitor turrets.
Yeah. AP Bren, very disciplined in this push, even when they're leading by so much. Gonna try to dive and Flapteezy with the halberd. That's gonna be deadly. I mean, that is your way of dealing with the Layla, even in the latter portions of the game, even in the late game. Surely the win of nature for Skylar will be key, and I think that he will pick that up later on. But imagine in a refreshed team fight, that Halberd pickup coming out from Flap TZ is gonna destroy Skylar.
Yeah, and it's going to be very hard, right, for the side of RQ Hoshi to turn this around. I mean, Brusco, off to a rough start, not really able to find the opportunities for the sets he was looking for. And it's going to be a challenge, especially going up against Ogwin on this Ruby. I mean, even if he tries to hit a Tyrant's Revenge or Tyrant's Rage, for a group setup, I mean, Ogwin just has to provide a little bit of chain CC to kind of stop him in his tracks. And I feel like that's a little bit of the struggle we've been seeing so far for him to be able to get those setups that RQ Hoshi is baiting for.
Yeah, I'm coming up of ways for Arkeoshi to come back from this game. The number one option, obviously, is just to rely on the late game of Layla, which is honestly not a bad idea if you think about it. I mean, that's their only way. There's really no other way for them to win this game apart from really depend on Skylar and his immense amount of damage in the late game. So how do they get that to that point? My magic number is 23 minutes, where everybody's just farmed out. Everybody's just locked item, and it wouldn't matter if you lose one inhibitor or maybe all of your inhibitors. It wouldn't matter as long as you keep your base, and your defense will be there. You have the Lilia anyways to breach you into that late game because you have wave clear. Then again, will AP Bren allow that? Because so far, AP Bren, they have now the luxury to go for banana.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and do the banana splits. Super Marco taking him down. Ice Cream Sunday. We'll be able to find one member, RQ Hoshi. Tried to get that contest on that last minute Lord still. Didn't really work out in his favor, and that's gonna put RQ Hoshi in a disposition in this team fight.
Really questionable play coming up from Banana going for that. I mean, they have already conceded the Lord. It didn't have to really look into that Lord, knowing that there's a lot of catch from AP Bren. You have Kyle TZ, and you have Ogun with the Flicker and Flap TZ. Then you're a CC with only one legitimate dash. So, really questionable play coming up from Banana out there.
Yeah, and AP Bren holding the banner for the Philippines, try and find their first game of the day up against Indonesia RRQ Hoshi. But some great defense. They were able to burst down that Lord to hold off AP Bren from closing out this game a second time. Mentioned that 23 mark being the time that we are going to be looking to for RQ Hoshi to have the damage necessary with all the late game items for Skylar to turn this around. Trust in Layla, the $1 million baby in the scenes, could make the difference.
AP Bren are going to be disciplined once more. I want to keep this 12-0 love set as much as possible, and you'll understand why. RQ Hoshi going to have to really commend their defense. Even when it was 4v5, they were able to keep Skylar safe. That's always going to be the case. And like I said, the Lilia is the bridge for them to get into the late game. You can set up your bombs. But now, Kautizi wants to fight. Oh my God.
Octa very low, trying to get away. Use the black shoes. Ogwin on the chase, but a massive damage output. Netherrealm going down. Super Marco will find Brusco. Few takes down Octa. 2 members down from the side of RRQ Hoshi. Make that a third as Super Marco gets another. Is going to go ahead and shut down Irad, leaving Skylar and Banana, the side laners who've been dealing so much damage in Game of Futures 2024 by themselves. AP Bren, Kyle Teasy will shut down the $1 million baby. Skylar will fall. Banana trying to get away, but running the wrong direction. Looks like he won't be able to contest. They're just going to let him get out of there. He's not going to be able to recall back. Few still will get the kill and a full wipeout against RRQ Hoshi. AP Bren takes game number 1.
That is a clinic from AP Bren. This